You know what that means. Moody Talk is back. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is very real. Did you miss me? Probably not, because I didn't do this that often. But this is C Moody as always, and I'm back to do some Moody Talk. Man, today, July 4th, so it's Independence Day. And I've been wanting to talk about this, man, because it's been something that has really been a challenge for me. It's just what independence means and being a black man in America. Now, full disclosure, am I here to be one of those people that say America is like the worst country? I hate America. No, not at all. You know, like as far as like current times, if you look at it in the grand scheme of the world, you know, America might very well be one of the greatest places because of just the land of freedom and opportunity. And you know, I feel like sometimes we have more freedom than we really need, and it sometimes becomes our own worst enemy, is the freedom we have, because now people are so entitled to do whatever they want. But that's besides the points, because it's just this land has given us this opportunity, and not to go against my father, my grandfather, my family members that have all been in the military, whatever military branch they've been, as well as others. You know, from my personal family, you know, I know at least from my dad or my brother, you know, most people say that everybody does it because they love the American dream or whatever. We did it because it was a source of guaranteed income. And, you know, was it at the cost and the risk of our lives? You know, yeah. And I'm saying our as a people. I'm not saying it because I never personally joined the military. Point blank, my mom threatened to shoot me if I tried to go ahead and just injure me before it. That was all I needed to hear. I just thought about it as an extra income myself. And I was like, do I want to get shot? Nah. So I got to worry about getting shot by her or getting worried about shot around people from any part of the land. Nah, I think my mom did enough for me. So, where am I like standing? I mean, the Independence Day is really about the birth of America. You know, this is where we came to be. But my thing is, where were the black people, the African American race at this time of the birth of this nation? We were slaves. We were slaves. And what hit me to want to talk about this is that my wife and I, we've recently joined a predominantly white church. And this is honestly, as far as like the feeling of the message, like the spirit of the speaker who's giving the word, this has been like the most informed, revealing, convicting word given The environment has been the most loving environment that I have felt from a church in its entirety. Like, most of us grow up in churches where, everybody can be friendly and speak, but at the same time, there's some people that you're probably not going to talk to outside of greetings, saying hey and goodbye. Because everybody's in their own section. You might have your own group at a church where this is where y'all stand and y'all look cool, and then there's the other sections that you don't worry about. But everybody's friendly though. Nah, this church, everybody, I feel like I have that same feel or aura of love coming from the pastor to the members, where I still haven't gotten their names. Like, it just feels, and maybe it's because it's a small church. It's a really small church in a small community. But we went because we knew the pastor. The pastor was my art teacher. The pastor was my wife's art teacher in high school. And it's just been an amazing journey going to this church and joining this church. So, but this Sunday, they celebrated Independence Day. Now, granted, we're not the only black couple there. There was another black couple, family. This whole black family that's been there, way before we got there. But, it's still 90% white, and we're we make up the rest of it. So, this past Sunday, they celebrated Independence Day. And they didn't, of course they didn't, reference anything negative about America. It was just all glorifying America as this great country and it always being a great country. And I think that's where that hit me. Like, I've never felt so torn and ostracized without anybody doing it directed at me. While they talked and while they celebrated, they found American hymns. We sung, America the Beautiful. We did all that. Well, they did. Like I said, I felt so torn at it. I couldn't sing any of that. I really couldn't. And all I could think of was civil rights. All these slave movies that I've watched, 12 Years a Slave, Birth of a Nation. We got so many of it. Color Purple, whether, being, all historical movies, some of the just kind of slave reference movie, because, I don't think Django was based off a historical person. It was just referencing a time where it could very well be, something like that happened. And I was just how can we forget that? How could we turn a blind eye to that? And it bothered me. It bothered me so much, man. It brought me to tears. I had to step out of the church and go in the van and just kind of regather myself. And it wasn't that I hated any of those people. And it wasn't that I felt like any of them hated or thought little of me. Like there's literally an older gentleman, maybe in his on the other side of his 50s, who calls me his hero. And the most I've done in that church is did the prayer whenever he calls. He asks random people at random times to pray. And I love it because it gives everybody that chance to really talk to God and to show how natural it should be. And yeah, he calls me his hero, man. And like I said, I feel so welcome, so invited, so loved. I feel like I'm a part of a family there at that church. But it's just that listening to that reminded me that I'm not a part of them. And it broke me. It broke me down. It really did. Because as united as we felt, it reminded me that the birth of this nation, freedom wasn't a thought for my people. Freedom, while it was talked about the purpose of finding this place, taking this place, if you want to look at the darkness of this history anyway, that freedom wasn't meant for black people when this nation was built. So for me as a black man, how can I celebrate the birth of this place when it had no intentions at that time to include us, outside of making us an inferior source of free labor, being hated, ridiculed, looked at as not even humans, not even having souls. How can you celebrate that? And like I said earlier, I don't hate America. I love the color schemes. It's funny enough that my favorite colors are red and blue. Red probably more so because of my mom. That's her favorite color. Blue was always my favorite color. And yeah. It just tore me. It just tore me down. It really did. And even while he was talking about it at church, you know, they talked about how there was something called a Mayflower Compact. And it was like a written passage upon, like, you know, the birth of people coming and trying to establish this land as America. How the written thing said that, you know, we came for the purpose of religious freedom, to celebrate and worship Jesus in whatever manner, you know, that they, I guess, deemed would be right. And what struck a deeper chord with me now, because, you know, I'm a minister, ordained, and it's like, how can you even call yourself a Christian when your people hate other people? Like, you took it and murdered Indians coming into this land. Now, granted, I do have, you know, I can't ignore what they did to Native Americans here, because that is a part of my bloodline as well. My grandmothers and my grandfather, their parents, one if not both of their parents, were a full-blooded, you know, Native American. So, you know, that's also a whole other topic to get on, just saying how they took the land from Native Americans. But I'm just trying to stay on, you know, just thinking of being a black man in America. It just, it just really tore at me. I just really wanted to talk about it. For anybody who listened, I want to know how you feel. Once again, man, to any people here, you know, white, who celebrate their country, I mean, I guess good for you. Like, hey, your forefathers probably had a better life and upbringing as far as that. But please, 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 don't be so ignorant. And I don't mean that as a stupidity way. I just mean, like, don't ignore. Don't be so blind to what happened to the generations of African Americans at that same time that y'all are celebrating the birth of this country. Please, please, I feel like we can't, and we haven't gotten to this era of true unity as a country, because we still have people who hate. We still have racism. The KKK is still an active thing. These are people, these are literally based off of supposed to be a Christian-based group of people who just feel like whites are superior and hate other people. Like literally carrying the torch of white history in America. And I don't believe all white people are racist. I don't. If I felt that way, I probably would have never joined nor staying at this church that me and my wife are going to. Like I said, honestly, this church more than anything has really broken down the barriers that I felt growing up, you know, with racism and all this stuff. But just, like I said, just, you know, them celebrating it reminds me that of all the suffering my people endured, all the hatred I've endured from white people, my mother endured, my grandmother endured. Like, it gets worse the further I go back in generations. And it just happened to listen to the D.L. Hughley show. My wife was listening to it last night, and they were talking about it, and it was just like, you know, he recognized that tear, like, you know, for white people, they have that to celebrate, and we don't. So it's like, how can you expect us to come with that same energy, that same enthusiasm? I can celebrate what I believe America will be, but I don't know if I can celebrate what America was, and considering what it was for us. And again, as I was trying to say, for any listener that comes across this podcast, please take a moment or two to give me any feedback. Recognize the situation. Even if you just still stand in your grounds as America being what it is, and we need to get over it. Because I know that that's still a response by a lot of people. And I'm not here to fight you on that. I'm just here to tell you how I felt. How it bothered my soul being a black man, a black Christian man in America, a black minister in America. And looking at history and not being forced, but being asked to celebrate it, or being expected to celebrate it. Give me some feedback, please. Any feedback is good feedback. Next time on Moody Talk, hopefully we'll be on a more positive note. But I really had to talk about that. So for anybody who's celebrating today, happy 4th. If you're not celebrating, enjoy your day. Still make the best of this day. Recognize America for what you think it is now, and the hope you have in its future, if you can't recognize the history of it. Once again, man, this is Moody Talk. I'm back. Hopefully for good. I miss doing this. And I got some more projects on the way. So until then, be easy. Remember to read your Bibles. And as always, be easy. I'm out.